You see, oh, there's a jealous thought, there's an angry thought, there's a desiring thought, there's memory, there's imagination. You are able to see all the things happening in your mind objectively because you have this focus. So usually if you don't have that kind of focus, you just go up and down with whatever arises in your mind. You're happy, then you're unhappy, and then you're jealous, and then you desire something, and then you're bored, and then you're excited, and just the mind is going up and down all the time. But now you're able to see, oh yes, this is a thought of excitement, or this is a thought of boredom. And you see you don't have to take those things so seriously. They're not really who you are. If it was really you, then you would be like that all the time. Or if, say, boredom was really you, or anger was really you, you would have power over it. You would say, right, I want to be angry now for 30 seconds. But you can't make yourself do that. Or I would like to be loving and kind right now. But you can't force these things to happen in your mind. They're not yours. They don't belong to you. They're natural phenomena. But we can influence these natural phenomena if we understand how they work, how they arise, how they pass away. So when we try to focus on the breath, the first thing, we need to be sitting in the best way, the way which is helping the meditation the most. And usually the sitting cross-legged is a good stable posture. And so we want to be able to sit for some time without a lot of discomfort. And usually the cross-legged posture is the best. But if you have some illness or you cannot sit on the floor, it's all right to sit on the chair. But what is important is that there is a balance between effort and relaxation. If there's too much effort, you try too hard, you get tense. If you're too relaxed, then your mind just drifts away. So this is the skill of meditation. Not too tight, not too loose. And there was a famous story in the time of the Buddha when a very rich man, he became a monk, and he was so determined, he was walking meditation, walking backwards and forwards, and he just trying so hard, and his feet were very soft because he was from a very wealthy family. He never walked barefoot before. And all his feet became cut, and he became very discouraged. And the Buddha visited him. His name was Sona. He said, Venerable Sona, when you were at home, did you used to play the mandolin, like the stringed instrument, the lyre? And he said, yes, Lord, I did. And he said, what would happen if the strings were too tight? And he said, well, they would snap when we play the instrument. And what would happen if the strings were too loose? Or we couldn't make a good sound if the strings were too loose. So how did you make the strings? So he said, well, not too tight, not too loose, Lord. And so the Buddha said, that's how you make your mind when you meditate. Not too tight, not too loose. Just like when you stringing the musical instrument. This is a good example of the genius of the Buddha and all the great teachers. When they teach someone, they make the examples and they draw from the experience of the student. So the Buddha used the experience of the musician because he knew this man was a musician. And so in meditation we have to find just the right balance, not too tight, not too loose. Most important thing is to sit with a straight back, but not like rigidly straight, but just like naturally straight like a tree. And the reason is because your breathing will just be natural, and that will help in the meditation, but also it helps to keep you alert. Meditation is not just drifting off into very peaceful, like happy place. It's work. It's hard work. The more you do it, the better you get. Then you will experience some very happy states. But if you start off and you think that, oh, I have so many problems and so many things in my mind, I just want to be peaceful. If you think like that, then after very long, you'll just drift off, and it'll be just like snoozing. And snoozing is not meditation. Just oh, so peaceful. But this is not meditation, because meditation, the mind has to be very sharp and clear and bright, and for that you must be putting the effort in. So what happens for most people when you start and you try to keep your attention on the breath, at the tip of your nose, wherever you feel the sensation of the breath most clearly, that's your workplace. This is where you establish your attention. And then you allow the breath to breathe. It's not you are breathing, your body is breathing. You don't have to do anything. You just have to observe. Even when you're fast asleep, you still breathe. Your body knows how to do this. So don't try to force it in any way. But you're learning how to be awake and aware in the present moment, which is something very few people are able to do. A good example, when you came on the plane, or if you go on a long journey, what happens? If you're on an aeroplane, everybody wants to do something. Then maybe there's a movie to watch, or something to eat, or a book to read. And the moment people don't have something to do, they just fall asleep, because they have no inner resource. They depend on something outside them for the stimulation. So in meditation, we're developing our own inner resource, where we're not dependent always on something outside ourselves for our happiness or for our stimulation. And when we start to put our mind on the breath, in breath, out breath, we find the mind is like crazy, like a monkey. Just go here and there, everywhere. And that's completely normal, happens to everyone. So don't worry. You just have to be very patient and keep working and keep doing it. And if you are very patient, and the moment you realize your mind is wandering away and you're back in Bhutan or you're somewhere else, then you just realize, never mind, and start again. And you start again, and you start again, and you start again. And so it's not very complicated. It just means you have to be very patient, and you have to be confident. Yes, I can do this. It's not impossible. And after a while, the thinking starts to reduce, less and less thinking. But now your second teacher, your second challenger is sleepiness. See, when you stop thinking so much, you start to get sleepy. And there again, you have to be able to be patient and keep working and developing the energy to prevent the mind from just indulging in the sleepy state. So there are many different challenges. And sometimes there's a lot of desire in the mind, and sometimes a lot of negative energy in the mind. But now it's like you can see these things. They come into your mind and they go out. They come and they go out. So now you don't believe in those things so much. You don't take them so seriously. Now this is very valuable in the daily life, because in daily life these same things are coming into our mind and affecting our relationship with other people, our work, our studies, but we don't usually see these negative qualities because they're very subtle. But now in the meditation period, it's like we look in the microscope and we see the the way that these things work in our minds. And so in the daily life, when our mind just starts to get some angry thought or some sense of depression or unhappiness or sadness or anxiety and worry, then we realize mind becomes very sharp. Oh, this is something arising in my mind right now. And so while it's still very weak, we can let it go before it becomes strong. This is one of the real values in both in our own lives and in life of students, enabling them to be able to protect their mind from the negative emotions that easily come into the mind. So with mindfulness and present moment awareness, knowing what is happening right now in the body and mind, when a first negative, the beginning of the negative emotion manifests, we can stop it, we can let go. But also we're learning in meditation, when the negative emotion has already taken over and we're already very unhappy or we're suffering, then we are developing the skillful means to deal with it and to let go of the problem that has already arisen. In the meditation practice, we need many, many virtues. Mindfulness and patience and contentment and commitment and integrity, and so in the course of the meditation practice, we are also giving rise to many good qualities, and we are learning to see how beautiful they are and how to develop them and how to be able to depend upon them in our life. So we can say that overall, our practice as Buddhists is we are learning how to abandon the negative qualities and develop the positive qualities. But the most effective and powerful means of doing this is through meditation. But through the meditation practice, we gain certain skills and abilities that then we can make use of in our daily life. So if, for instance, an example of drug addiction. So, why do people become addicted to drugs? Well, one of the reasons is the pleasure that they derive. They want that pleasure and happiness, even if it causes them much suffering in other areas of their life. Now, if you tell somebody to stop taking a drug, then you're telling them stop having that happiness. And most people won't do that. You need to be able to provide another kind of happiness in its place. And in why meditation practice is very effective is you are able to show people there is happiness inside without you have to take a drug or you have to use money. And this is not just like a teaching in the holy book or something that the Buddha said, but this is something you can prove for yourself. When you let go of the negative emotion, you have the mindfulness and inner calm and clarity and brightness of your mind. You don't want anything. You are completely content. You don't need to spend a lot of money. You don't need drugs. You don't need these things. This is something that can be proved through experience. So if you're telling people who are addicted to something or other, whether it's drugs or alcohol or even material enjoyments, you can't just say don't do that, and people won't listen. You must be able to point out that there are better